All right. It's been a minute since I've done this. It's been a lot and a lot of minutes since I've done any sort of video or podcast or anything. So I wanted to make a quick update about what I've been up to, what's going on, and I do want to get back to making these episodes more, but I've been doing a lot of thinking about how I want to do them, when I want to do them, and why I'm doing them in the first place. And so I want to get into some of that. And here's why any of this makes sense, or why it matters to you, obviously. The reason that I make these episodes is because I want to make them for you guys so that you can learn what I'm learning as I'm learning it. And I've spent the past couple of months, maybe you can relate to this, learning how much I don't know. And that just goes on and on and on. That's not been something that has stopped for me. And so I've run into a bit of imposter syndrome, especially coming out of a hard season of life with so much caretaking and special needs things that have just been happening in our family. And it's been messing with me. It really has been. And that's okay, because it's a challenge, it's a test, and I can see where God is moving in my life. But I also see where I haven't been stepping up to the plate. I need to get back in the saddle because there's been a lot that I haven't been doing right, and I need to work on that for myself. So this episode is about a little bit of that, and it's just so nice out here. Like, look at this wonderful winter wonderland. It's beautiful. All snowy and white and clear and clean. It's amazing. So I want to break this down into 3 bits. The first bit, what have I been up to? The second bit, what I've learned. And the third bit, how what I've learned is going to change what I'm doing going forwards, and why I'm going to love it so much more, because it's really going to change a lot of stuff for me, and that means that I can make better content for you guys. The first thing is that what I've learned. What I've learned is the first bit there. And the first bit is that I don't want to make just content. I'm sick of it, and I haven't even really started. And so that's a bit of a problem, because if you're sick of something you haven't even started, then what the heck? How does that work? The second bit is that I need to change how I'm approaching making videos, because if I'm not enjoying making the videos that I'm making, if I feel like they're too clickbaity, if I feel like I'm just making stuff to make stuff, then I'm doing it for the wrong reason. If I feel like I'm just making things, maybe you can relate to this. I mean, a lot of you aren't content creators, and I know that. But are there things in your life where you show up for it and you kind of don't know why you're doing it still, or why this even matters to you? Maybe it matters to someone else. Helping people, of course, that's not what this is about at all. But if you are showing up each day to something that you hate, or if you're trying to force yourself into something because it's the smart way or the better way or whatever it is, then that really isn't good. I was having a conversation with my uncle recently, just the other day, and he and I were talking about career and whatnot. And hey, dude, I'm recording a video, so I don't care if you guys are running around or whatever. Keep doing what you're doing. But yeah, just so you know. And what he was talking about was doing something that you love enough that you still enjoy doing versus doing something that you absolutely hate. My brothers are sledding on the hill right next to me. It's fun. But if you're doing something that you absolutely hate, then why would you do that? You're going to kill yourself, and you're not going, in his words, like, you're not going to show up and do your best for those people, for that job. And it'd be better suited if someone else was doing it instead of you, because now you're not adding anything, you're actually detracting. So having something that you don't hate, but that is smart, that does pay the bills, that does make you money, gives you financial stability and a future and a career, is really important. But you have to balance that. And then the second aspect was, well, then you can go do something that you love, that's creative, that's a hobby, but you have your bills covered, you have your housing covered, your family's covered. So you want to find something, and that's where it's a compromise. You're not going to be able to just do whatever you want all the time. And that's something that I've had to learn a bit of, definitely. I've had to learn a lot of it. If you're doing something if you're just all over the place, I should say, then you're not gonna get anywhere. So that's sort of what I've learned. I've also learned a lot about myself recently and where I need to work on myself, where I need to focus in, where I need to be harder on myself, and where I need to ease up, where I need to expect more from myself, and where I need to say, I'm doing an amazing job here, and it's okay. You're doing a good job. Don't do less, but also don't beat yourself up for not having done more, because you did as much as you can. That's important for all of us. We live in a world now where so much is demanded and asked of us beyond, and this isn't. So I got a friend who's going to school, and he has an entire plan mapped out, and it doesn't require anything more of him than to just do his job and live his life. And I was like, man, I envy you in a way, because if I get online, I am suddenly bombarded with all of these things that are expected of me as a young man. And I really hate that. I can't stand it. And it sets standards in my own head that are too much for me. It's too much. And I never thought that affected me until recently when I realized, wow, half the stuff I do is because of that. Or at least that's where it started or where it was motivated. I've learned a lot that I just love video. I love making videos. I've always made videos. I've always loved doing video. And so to keep doing video is to feed my creativity and to fuel myself. Because if I stop doing that, then I'm not going to be very happy. But until I can do video as a full-time job, I got to find something that can cover me. The next aspect is that I'm only going to be making videos. I want to make them more creatively. I'm going to focus more on quality than on quantity right now. So I'm going to make more videos because that's how I'm going to get better at making videos. So it's been a lot less videos recently. There will be more to come, more I want to share. I got to map those out because I've been spending this time just looking over this next year and what do I want to do with it? What do we want to do with it as a family? And I encourage you, as you've probably already done, to do the same thing. Sometimes we're locked into things that are kind of like a contract for us, whether that's school or a job, whatever. And I love that because you already know what you got to do. That's so simple. But for us, it's been a big transition year, and it's going to be different this year than last year, which I'm pumped about. The other thing is that we're focusing more on, instead of having the dream of what we want to do, I think we're all coming to a point as a family where we're more settled with doing what God has given us to do. And that's not to say that we haven't been. It's just to say that, like, okay, well, we've never really wanted to stay where we are right now. But you know what? If this is where God's going to keep us, then let's start exploring that route because he hasn't moved us yet. He hasn't given us the opportunity or the ability to move yet. So we got to do what we got to do. We got to grow where we are planted and steward what we have. So we're going to be working on some stuff around this place, which I'm also very, very excited to share. Something we've wanted to do for a long time, but we've always been waiting until we're at our final spot until we want to start doing that, but we're going to start here, and this will be the practice project if we do leave, and it'll be the thing if we stay. So, I mean, either way, I reflect on the past year and how bad it was for me. It just is kind of dark. It's like, ugh, you know? But because it was so dark, now this next year can be so bright. And there was so much that happened last year that planted seeds that, as my mom said, we were tilling the soil, which actually depends. You got to clear the rock out of the soil. We were taking all the rocks out of the soil. And this next year is going to be a year of planting seeds and growing the seeds that were planted last year and hopefully just living in that. So it is going to be busy. It's going to be so busy. But my hope is that it will be simple. Remember I did that episode on easy versus simple and complex versus hard. Complex things are more in your brain. Hard things are more with your body. Easy things are more with your body. And simple things might be with your body but are also your brain. This year will be hard, but it will be simple. Versus last year, which was hard and complex. So I'm really glad to have the simplicity now. and to know where we're going, to know where I'm going, and to focus in on that for just the next year. I'm not worried about the year after. I'm not worried about the year after that. I'm not worried about next week, because I'm happy to be where I am right now, and that's a new feeling for me. That's not something it's not something I've felt in a long time. A really long time. I remember when I was younger, I was so happy to just be young and to enjoy my life and to live in that place where I didn't have responsibilities the way that I do now. And I loved being a kid. I loved being little. I wasn't sad to grow up. I was also ready for adulthood, and I was ready to take it on, to take on the challenge. But I was so happy and content to just be where I was. So that's behind me, though, and I'm not that anymore. And I've been, we all go through that awkward transition phase between being kids and being adults, the teenager phase. Some of that was just kind of made up culturally, but I think I'm on a bit of the other side of that now, and I've still got so much to learn. I know that. We all have a lot to learn. But it's a good thing. I'm glad for it. I'm happy for it. And this year is going to teach me a lot more about discipline in areas that I haven't had to be disciplined in yet, and in areas where I've been lacking in discipline. So I am just ecstatic. I'm pumped, and this is going to be an amazing year. So that is to say, I'm going to be changing some things on the channel. This is going to be more of like a running channel now. It's going to be still Making Men, but like what I want Making Men to be versus what I've just been able to keep Making Men being. I've only been able to maintain what I had, but now I want to grow it. The thing is, I'm not going to put my full effort into it. I'm kind of like caring less. This is more about developing the craft this year than it is about growing the channel. So this year I'm developing the craft of making running videos, making amazing videos for health and fitness for young adults. If you're a young dude, that's great, but this is branching out. This is more than just young guys now, because sometimes people just have the wrong priorities in mind, or young guys will value hype over actual realistic stuff. And I'm sick of hype. I don't want to just be a hype man all the time. And I love making videos about God. I love making videos about Jesus. I think the most fulfilling thing for me is to teach about Jesus in any medium, any form, whether that's writing, speaking, making videos. If I can spread his word, then it really doesn't matter what I'm doing. And that's a beautiful thing for me. I was really reflecting on that. And it makes me think of Paul, which is really cool for me. I'm like, oh, I kind of get it now. I get what he was saying, like he could be anywhere, but he had that joy. He'd found that peace. And that's what I've been chasing. So this year, the word of the year for us is rest. It's peace, resting in the simplicity. Even though it's going to be hard, I get to rest spiritually and mentally in the simplicity, and I get to find physical rest after the physical hardness of it, which I am so excited about. So it's going to be, working, making these videos, and exercising for me this year, focusing on family, spending more time with friends. Something I've really neglected is a social circle. And there's my brother. But yeah, that's my goal. That's what I'm going to be up to this next year, and I am excited. I'm so excited for it. I've been pumped, but I got to remember to stay in that excited state. And when I feel tired, when I feel slow and sluggish, to just be okay with that. And my mom was telling me this morning, she was like, you're not going to remember feeling tired. All you're going to remember is what you did and the good stuff that came out of it. And I'm not excited to feel tired, but I want to feel tired at the end of the day, like I did a good job. I love that physically after exercise, and so I'm going to chase that in every aspect of my life, every area. And so yeah, it's going to be a good year. I've really learned a lot about myself, more to come, because I want to break those down into different episodes. But this is just me saying I've learned a lot. I've been grateful for the break. I'm ready to come back to doing this as a rest for me and not as something that I need to grow. But this is the rest. This is the hobby. This is the thing that I'm not doing for work, that I'm doing in the off time, in the spare time, on my own time, when I'm not working on work and when family's not taking time. It's been a lot of family stuff too. Honestly, like it's been, I might move because of that shovel noise, but I don't know. We'll see. Family takes a lot of time. When you have a big family, when you have so much special needs and challenges in a family, it is not easy, man. It takes your time, it takes your money, it takes your attention, it takes your effort, it takes your life. It takes so many things that just drain you, and it's really hard. It takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of reliance on God to say, you know what? I have no idea where you're bringing me. I have no idea why I'm doing this. I have no idea how long I'm going to be doing this for. We are going to be doing this for. You know, like my parents aren't going to ever stop doing it. And we got to get the help. We got to get something set up so that we can have lives and be able to live and not just survive. And so that's what we're going to work on. But yeah, this is just step one. This is phase one in the plan. And, you know, I was reading James the other day, and then I saw this verse pop up again in a post from a guy I like. And he was talking about James, and he was saying, you know, for anyone that says we're going to go to this city and do business here for a year and it's going to be great and we're going to grow and live it up, he's saying that's folly. That's just vain and selfish and prideful. Instead, you should say, if it's God's will, we will do that. And if it's God's will, then we will do this. You know, Proverbs 16 says, man makes plans in his heart, but the Lord determines his steps. And so I'm done making plans. I'm going to do what I know God has gifted me with, the interests and the creative things that he's blessed me with, the values that he has instilled into me, the way, like who he made me to be is what I'm focusing on. And I'm not focusing on what comes out. I'm only focusing on input now. I've been so obsessed with output over the past couple years and thinking about everything in terms of how can I monetize this? How can I make this work for me? How am I spending my time? And that was a lot of the game when I was doing video and when I was doing web dev stuff. But I'm not doing that this year. I'll go back to it if I need to. But this year is just all about putting the input in the things that I love, in the things that I know I have, growing where I'm planted, stewarding what God has given me. You know, when the Bible talks, like I made that video about the talents, right? And the servants. I'm going to take the talents that God has given me, and I'm going to take my time, my treasure, and my talents and invest those. I'm going to be investing those. I'm going to be growing them and multiplying them right here so that when he comes back and he says, what have you done? When he, you know, when I check in 2026, the end of 2025, how did it go? I want to be able to say I'm proud of it. Really, really proud of it. Proud of myself. Proud of who I have been for God. Regardless of anyone else, anything else. Regardless of how much money I have, what status I have. It doesn't matter because I've been so occupied with that it paralyzed me and I didn't end up doing any of it anyways. So what's the point? So that is the goal. And I hope that you'll follow along. I hope that this will be interesting for you and helpful for you to grow you, because I've learned a ton and I'm going to be sharing it all. I'm going to be sharing it through runs. I'm going to be sharing it creatively through camera work and video and editing, keeping it simple. Just iPhone, you know, iMovie on my iPhone, that kind of simple. And I figured out I could plug this directly into my phone. Oh, we're going to have so many good episodes now and so many cool places. Like, this is fun. I already own this microphone. I don't need some sort of wireless lavalier mic. This is so cool to me. Like, I love this kind of stuff. The technology behind the video itself, the content of the video. It gets me pumped when it's like I've solved a problem. Which is another thing that my uncle was telling me. He was like, you know, I really just love debugging stuff in computers, figuring out problems, finding problems, and then fixing them. He loves that. He said he was like obsessed with it almost. Like, not obsessed, but he just loves it. And he was like, find something like that. You know, whatever it is. And so I can look at it and be like, that's definitely this. I'm looking at the USB adapters that I have stuck into the end of my phone. I had this idea this morning, and look at how it worked out. This is amazing. I love it. And so, yeah, I'm going to do 3 things this year. Focus on my family and creativity. Now focus on my family and myself, focusing inward instead of outward on everything else. I'm going to grow creativity, and I'm going to share God. I'm going to share Jesus with everyone in the way that I act and behave and treat them, in the way that I present myself online, places and things no one will ever see, that no one except for God might ever know about. And that's cool to me. Just letting the work speak for itself. I love that. I love it so much. And for a long time, work doesn't speak for itself. For a long, long time, nothing happens. Sean Cannell likes to say that overnight successes were actually 15 years in the making. And that's so true. I'm on year 5 now of this entrepreneur journey instead of the college route I had planned out in 8th grade. And that's okay. I still have that plan to fall back on. I want to get back to that point, but I think I'm going to be able to do it smarter, wiser, older, and I'm going to be able to do it right. I think God has saved me from a lot of things, my whole family from a lot of things of the world, and He's put us on a path to help share and preach His name and what family can be in this world now as it is, what it can be now, what it can still be. But that takes time, You got to invest in that family first before you can share about that investment, because otherwise that kind of defeats the point. So, yeah. All right, that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It's not going to be all about myself from here out. It's going to be about you guys and everything else. The journey, the challenges, the struggles, everything we face. This is for men. This is for women. This is for young people. This is, the older people that watch my videos and talk to me, they love my stuff. And they say, yeah, you're doing a great job, Isaiah. And that's what's most important to me. That I have my grandparents in my corner, that they support me, that they're proud of me. I'm going to make videos about the things that I've learned from them, from other mentors in my life. I'm going to do a series on it. And I'm so excited for that series, because that's the kind of thing that I just feel so blessed when I... Hey, bud. I'm recording, so that's okay. Just so that you remember. I'm impeding on them. They were out here first. But, yeah. All right. I'm excited. Subscribe so that you don't miss out, as always. And can't wait to see you in the next one. I can't wait to make the next one. I'm excited to go edit this. So, I hope this mic worked, because I tested it and it worked just before. So, we'll see. Otherwise, this would be a large spend of time with no return. Yeah. All right. See you in the next one. I don't even know what that was. I don't know what I just said.